all my stuff because I've got to do my download on Sundays, and you can't have this. And I'm reading all this stuff. I've already screwed up the first part of the week. I mean, well, because I was eating fruits with, little nuts and stuff. And I'm thinking, I forgot to read that. So now I'm thinking, okay, what can I eat? And I'm trying to get rid of piggy and fat because I can't imagine I eat for 36 hours. You know me.
Right. All right, let's get rolling. Ready? All right, here we go. This is class number 6. Of the total 6 classes, this being class number 6 means, in fact, this is the final installment. I want to thank everybody for coming. 2 key points about tonight's program versus some of the others. First, you'll notice that we have far fewer people in the room. That's due to 2 things. Number 1, we hope, is because many people are out working scrimmages. And secondarily, the requirement is to attend 4 meetings, and this being number 6, most people have their 4 by now, and so this is not a required session, and so it's more of a voluntary. If you didn't make the other ones, well, maybe you need to be here tonight, but for those of you who have made more than 4, we appreciate you being here. First order of business on the list, help me out with the phone. So if you have some type of phone device, put it on mute, off, vibrate, something else. That's fine. Last Tuesday, we had an update to the clinic information saying that it started at 9 and that doors would open at 8. That's a lie. We're going back to the original 7:30 time. So what I'm hearing as of this morning, both from the AIA and from the person who told me that it's 8 o'clock, is that was some confusion in communication with the UOP powers that be that have keys, and that they were originally told they could get access at 7 and they want 30 minutes to set up and prepare before they let anyone in. And then they were told 7:30 and now it's back to 7. So the latest word is the clinic will begin at 9 and doors will open at 7:30. I'll remind you that if you've received the speed pass, that is supposed to make things go by more speedy. And if you don't already have your speed pass printed, you should print your speed pass. That's going to allow you to move more quickly through the process. Is there anyone in this room, and I hope you answer no, that doesn't already have books? Everyone should have a set of books. Good. Scrimmages, some of them began last night, and I was fortunate enough to be a few hundred yards that way on this very field and had a scrimmage, and it was fun to be back on the field, fun to run around a little bit, but I was reminded that each year I get 1 year older and the players stay the same age. And so I'll repeat that you should be working in some type of conditioning program, adjust your diet, and do your best to be ready for the players. All of you by now must be familiar that we have in the back of the room a camera, and I wear a microphone, and that we're filming these. 3 of the episodes as of yesterday about 4 in the afternoon have been loaded to YouTube. So effective immediately, 5 have been loaded, I'm sorry. Okay, so this one will be loaded shortly. Effective immediately, I am a YouTube sensation. All right.
Just went viral too.
Yeah, it just went viral. I looked at one of them earlier today and it had 9 views. So, I'm going for double digits. Thank you for participating. And one of the common words in the early programs was duck, duck, duck. So if you hear duck in there, that's it. As with football game videos, I personally, and most of you are probably the same way, have a tendency to be very critical of your own performance on camera. And I noticed that I talked too fast, and I had a couple of idiomatic expressions that I included more often than I would have liked, saying, okay. And I would say, okay, more often than I like. So if you would like to see any of the videos, you can go to the AZFOA.org And on the member page, not on the home page, but on the member page, so you must be a member to get access, there's a little block in the middle of the page that says, if you missed any classes or you'd like to review the material, this year we have filmed the Moon Valley classes, click here. And that will take you to the YouTube site. If you're not a member and you want to help my cause to get up into double digits on views, go on YouTube, and the key thing without any spaces in it is AIA FB rules. You can figure out what that means. AIA FB rules, and then it'll bring up a couple of them. And once you click on one of them, then over on the right-hand side where it has the suggestions, the others will come up. You'll see myself, you'll see Matt, Mr. Kerfman is featured in one of them, maybe more than one, but I know I saw you on the elections. On the elections, you were in that one. It's kind of fun. And we hope everybody enjoys being in the class. And if there's something you'd like to see that you missed or want to watch Bob make some mistakes along the way, you can watch pretty much any of the episodes and your wish will be granted. Okay, there are six sets of slides that are in PowerPoint format. And I was told at one point that they were being posted to the AZFOA site. I'm not sure if they're there or not, but anyone, I believe they are, but anyone who would like to get a copy directly, if you send me an email, and I'm in the directory, okay, and I'll give you my email separately if you'd like it. I'm not going to put it on YouTube. If you'd like, send me an email and make some simple statement on there about, hey Bob, send me a copy of the PowerPoint slides from the class, and I will send you a reply email and attach all 6 episodes. Okay, the videos I know are on there, and they'll take too long for me to download to you, so I'm not going to try to send those as attachments. But if you would like any of these 6 PowerPoints, let me know and we'll make sure that happens. Any other announcements before we go? Let's go. Tonight's program, because we have a limited audience and the stuff is fairly straightforward, is going to be potentially a little shorter than some of the others. I know that Matt laughs because there have been other meetings where I said, oh, tonight we should just fly through. And then the discussion sort of gets off on a tangent somewhere, and the next thing you know, it's 5 minutes past 8. This section in here, passing game and scoring, is pretty straightforward. Now, the film tonight is going to be very helpful because we can talk all we want about what is or isn't pass interference, but a lot of it is watching it on film, and a little bit of arm action might be okay, a little bit more, and oh, because he did a specific thing with his hand or arm or body, then that's going to be a foul, versus another play that looks a lot like that, but it was missing a key ingredient that kept it from being a foul. So the film section tonight, in my opinion, is going to be more important than this. Passing game and scoring. How many types of DPI categories are there? Of course there are, okay? And the 6 include playing through the back, which is pretty much what this one is right here in the film. Not playing the ball, which means you're playing the man as opposed to playing the ball. Hook and turn, where that's where you grab a guy and spin him, and it might be you're running kind of parallel with him, and the hook and turn often happens right here at the hip, where you get a hold of him, and it's okay to have your hand here and ride him, and many good defensive backs can put a hand on the receiver and read his body as to where he's going next. If he starts to make a move, this hand will give them information. And it is okay to have a hand on the opponent in a legal way, as long as you don't do something to change or alter his course, like hook and turn him, okay? And so sometimes it looks like when a receiver is going for a pass, maybe here, and the defender is near his back, and the defender's reaching over and trying to swat the ball down this way, that the defender has his other hand right here on the hip and does a turn like this. It does 2 things. It makes it much more difficult for this guy to reach forward and catch the ball, and secondarily, it provides a cleaner path for the defender to come in and make a swipe at the ball to block it. So hook and turn is definitely a foul. We'll see some film about that. Arm bar is where you extend an arm and try to limit your opponent from running beyond and away from you. Okay? You're running kind of parallel, and all of a sudden you realize that this guy is a cousin of Usain Bolt, and he's about to leave you in the dust. And to slow him down, you put out an arm. You're not grabbing him, you're not holding him, you're simply restricting him, okay? Like those barriers when you're trying to leave a parking lot that you can't go through until you pay the money or put your ticket in, and then it goes up, okay? So armbar is one of them. Cutoff is where you're both running and you try to get to a spot before him to prevent the receiver from getting through or being able to make a cut. Now, cutoff can be a little tricky in that the defender has equal rights to the ball. And if you think he's making a bona fide attempt on the ball as opposed to trying to cut off the receiver, it might look like a cutoff, but may not be. Okay? That is, in my opinion, one of the harder calls. And finally, face guarding. In face guarding, the classic one is where the defender is beat, the receiver's down here ready to make the play, and the defender comes at him and he's waving his arms or putting a hand just right in front of his eyes to restrict the vision. He's not making any attempt on the ball. Many of our defensive backs these days are much smarter and quicker, and they can read the eye movement of the receiver. And so what they'll do is they'll run and they can do some of this, like they're putting their hands up to block the ball, which is legal. You can put your hands up to shield the ball from coming in and hope the ball deflects off your wrists or the tops of your hands. That part is legal. If you start to do this in front of his face, now it's very illegal. But the move that we often look for to determine what was he playing, the ball or the man, is whether or not when the ball gets near, if the defender turns to look for the ball. And sometimes just by turning to look for the ball, we give them the benefit of the doubt and believe and rule that because he turned his head, he was playing the ball. And that isn't necessarily true. You can often, especially if the receiver has turned his back toward the goal line and is facing his quarterback and waiting for the ball to come in this way as opposed to catching it over the shoulder. If the receiver is here waiting for the ball, his eyes will usually get a little bit larger in the sockets about the time the ball arrives. That's a normal human reaction. That's the way your eyes work. As it's coming in, your eyes get a little bit bigger, okay? And a defender might be able to determine that change in the eye and turn around when he sees that, okay? Just because he turns around does not mean he was not face guarding. When he turns around, you start to think he's probably playing the ball, but it is not an absolute. Are we comfortable with that? DPI and OPI, the timing of when those fouls can occur have different origin points. DPI, the defensive restrictions, begin when the pass is thrown because they don't know. They were not privileged to be in the offensive huddle and hear what the play call is. And just because the quarterback drops back in the pocket doesn't mean it's going to be a pass play. It could be a draw or a scramble or some other kind of play. For the offense, they have the luxury of having been in the huddle and know what the play call was. And so we start their restrictions earlier. And by that I mean their restrictions start with the snap versus when the pass is thrown. Okay? The common four that you see for OPI, pick play. And this was not necessarily invented, but nearly perfected at Brigham Young University, where they were a passing offense. They would line up 2 or 3 wide to a particular side, and they would come out and do crossing patterns. And what they found in the early days of their passing offense, when people played a lot of zone or a lot of man, is that if they played man, I could come out, okay? And if Bryce was defending Matt, I could come out and start to run my route and go stand right in front of Bryce. And I basically became like a basketball player setting a screen. I was screening him. I was creating a pick. And then Matt could run, and as Bryce tried to go and cover him, I was screening him away from that, and especially in shorter yardage where that little quick pass comes, inside the red zone kind of stuff, that little bit of separation and delay of Bryce having to go around was enough to create him open, and a guy like Jim McMahon or Steve Young could easily get him the ball and advance, if not score. All right? So pick play. Second is the push-off, and that's the famous Michael Irvin, Dallas Cowboys days. Okay? That's when you're running down the field and the ball's coming, and as the ball's coming, you do a little bit of a to create some separation with the defender, and then by the defender being a step or two away now, I'm open, I can catch the pass. If I didn't push him off, the defender would be in much better position to make a play. Much better position to make a play. So you're creating an openness. You're creating an opportunity for you to get the ball with less of a defense on you by pushing off. It doesn't have to be done at the time the ball is arriving. The other common place you see a push off is when the receiver makes his cut. He goes down, the defender is in front of him, and just as I'm cutting, I give him a little push, and now I'm open. Or at least I have a 1 or 2 step head start on this guy because I pushed him away, and instead of him being able to immediately cover me, I got to take 1 step back as a result of the push, and now I'm playing catch up. And that may create an opening for the receiver and the quarterback. Blocking before the ball is caught. This is one that is hard, especially when it's away from the ball, and even more importantly, it may occur pretty early. Okay? Because the offense knows the play call in the huddle, when they come out of the huddle and a receiver goes downfield to run a route, he knows that it's supposed to be a pass or not. And if a defender has been properly trained, think of this. A defender should be able to legitimately feel that if an offensive receiver comes and blocks him, that it is not a pass play because the offensive player is restricted. So if he comes to block as a defender, what I want to be thinking is shed this block and get up here and play run because they're not going to pass. Let him go beyond me now. I don't care. If you allow that block to occur, first, it's not a foul until the pass is thrown. So you don't want to immediately whip your flag on the ground. It's not a foul until the pass is thrown. But you need to remember that. You need to store that right here. And then, if the pass is thrown, you throw your flag. Now, you may have to come back and say, did the pass cross the line, that kind of a thing. Okay? But it's not a foul until the pass is thrown. And so sometimes that block occurs, you're off thinking something else, and then when the pass is thrown, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that he really blocked. So it's important to store that information and not let it get away from you. Okay? Important to store that information and not let it get away from you. It does not matter if the wide receiver on the left-hand side goes down 10 yards and blocks the DB over here, and they throw the pass over to this side. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we give some latitude to the defense. If the ball is thrown over here and the action that otherwise would have been DPI occurs over here, we're going to let that go. We're going to let that go. If it's a personal foul, we'll call it, but we're not going to call DPI over here if the pass went over there. Very different story on OPI. If you have a guy blocking over on this side and subsequently a pass is thrown over here, you need to call that. Okay? And you may have somebody argue from the bench, they do argue from the bench, and say something along the lines of, but it wasn't even in the area. Okay, it wasn't even in the area. It's over here and it's over there. But rightfully, as we just talked about, that DB who got blocked over here should be able to give up on his man and pursue a running play. And if you subsequently throw a pass, whether it's over here or over there, okay, you've disadvantaged that DB because he made his read and he changed his coverage based on that receiver coming and blocking him. He gave up on pass. And so maybe if you have a block over here, the safety in the middle says, we got a block over here, I saw this block, so it can't be a pass, and the safety who's got deep coverage comes up. And then you get a guy open over here. It becomes a little more complex on the offensive side of the ball, so it's important to keep track. Now, that call is going to be largely a call for the wings. The back judge may not see that. Okay? The wings are generally the one who are going to see that. And remember, our mechanic is, if you have that block and then subsequently a pass is thrown, you're going to rag it. And if you're unsure, did the pass cross the line or not cross the line, you want the flag on the ground. You then come back and share your information, and you can get help. Did the pass cross the line? Check with the umpire. Okay, did the ball cross the line? Did the pass cross the line? And if the answer is yes, then you're going to enforce. If the answer is no, it's really easy to say, wave it off. The pass did not cross the line. There's no interference. Okay? And then finally, we get a circumstance where the players change roles. If the ball is thrown in a manner where the defender has a much better chance to make the catch than the offensive receiver, then the offensive receiver wants to prevent the interception. He doesn't want to turn over. And so his job is to play DB and try to break it up. He then has those same restrictions once the ball's in the air that the DB has. He can't arm bar him. He can't pull him down. He can't do the hook and turn. He can't do any of those things. And if a ball is misthrown or the receiver runs a poor route, the DB may be in a much better position to make the catch than the offensive player. And your job then is to determine, okay, did the offensive player do something that you would have called against the defense if it had role reversal? Okay? All right, when is it not PI? And here we're talking about the earlier one, where over here you have action B4 interfering with this guy, and the ball is thrown well away from that guy. Okay, he's got an arm bar on him, okay? And the ball is thrown way over here. Well, you're not going to have DPI there. You might have holding, you might have personal foul, you might have some other type of infraction, but you're not going to have DPI. Okay? And if you are a high quality, honest, a high quality official, if you're here or here, back judge or wing on this side, and you got some action here, and he's got a B4, has a hold of his jersey or holds his arm or does something, okay, and you see the quarterback originally looking over there, and then he sees that action, he looks off, and then he throws to the other side, have a flag. Have a flag. Just because the pass went over here doesn't mean this guy gets free. Maybe the reason the quarterback turned and looked over here was because he saw this action. He figures, oh man, if he's being held, okay, he's not going to be able to make the play. He's going to be a step off in his timing or whatever. Okay, he's going to be better covered, and I cannot get the ball to him. And so get that flag out, and you can come in and you say, I got holding on B number 4. Okay, and the quarterback turned and had to go the other way because of that action.
Bob, you wouldn't be wrong in calling it insurance, though, would you?
It was prior to the pass.
It may not be.
Well, if the ball had not yet been thrown, you cannot have interference, okay? Because restrictions on interference for the defense do not start until the pass is thrown. And so if the quarterback's holding the ball, quarterback is holding the ball, has not yet thrown the pass, and you have action over here and the quarterback looks away and subsequently throws over there, you cannot have PI. You can have a hold or you can have a personal foul, but you cannot have PI because the defensive restrictions don't start until the pass is thrown. So if the action against the receiver was before the pass was thrown, no PI. Okay? This right here, we're assuming that the ball is coming in. It hadn't already come in and been deflected and bounced off on a poor catch. If the ball hasn't arrived and you've got this defender coming in here already making contact, that's PI. Now, conversely, if this ball had already been in his chest and bounced out, but if it happens prior to the arrival of the ball, that's trouble. Okay, roughing the passer, yeah, right here is kind of a problem. Okay?
Jets, it's okay.
Yeah, he's a Charger, so it's all right. Okay, this is a big penalty, and I mentioned this in our last meeting. A friend of mine is a retired NFL defensive lineman. He played in the league for 13 years, okay? And his story was, okay, put a lick on that guy every shot. Every shot, every opportunity, put a lick on that guy, okay? And maybe you get a call, maybe you don't. Most of the time you won't. And when he played, there was more action allowed on the quarterback than there is today. And what his coaches told him, this was their plan, this was their strategy, that if you put a lick on that guy in the first quarter and a couple more licks in the second quarter and the third quarter, you put some punishment on him, maybe, not guaranteed, but maybe in the fourth quarter, his passes wouldn't be as sharp, his movement wouldn't be as quick, he might not hold the ball quite as long in the pocket before he threw, he might start ducking and chucking. And that gives your defense an advantage. If the quarterback is not playing at 100%, guess what? The defense has an advantage. So, you don't want to let them pound on the quarterback unnecessarily. Legal hits, we understand, it's football, but you don't want to let him pound on that guy unnecessarily. This guy's in a vulnerable position. First and foremost, the defense is coming this way, and this guy is trying to stand in and throw a ball in the opposite direction, and his hand and his head are exposed, and especially his front kneecap is exposed. Okay? And if you have a guy come in and dive at his knee, and I'm planting and trying to get my body weight forward for momentum on the throw, that's big trouble. What is a backward pass? Well, it's one that's not forward. Now first, before we go into backward, what is parallel? Which one is that going to be in? If it's parallel to the line, are we calling it forward or are we calling it backward? How many people want to raise their hand on forward? And how many people who want to raise their hand on backward? You see we have some dispute in here. This is why you come to class. Okay? We like to sort these things out here versus on the field so that we are consistently calling the play throughout the season regardless of the field. And you don't go up to a guy and say, okay, here's what we got. The ball was parallel, so I'm ruling it this. And somebody says, well, last week we had one that was parallel and they ruled it that. Okay? So let's look. Here we have one that's going parallel, right? From the 25 starting and ending also on the same 25-yard line. And here we have one that is clearly backward. Got it? Clearly backward on this one. Which do we think is right? Who wants to read our rule book? Stephen, go ahead, read for us.
Page 34. Section 31, passing. A forward pass is a pass thrown in its initial direction toward the opponent's end line. You go down a little farther. A backward pass is a pass thrown in its initial direction parallel with or towards the runner's end line.
Okay.
I was always taught that there's only two directions, either forward or...
Absolutely. And that's along the same umpiring thing in baseball that says there is no tie. He's either safe or he's out. There is no tie. Okay? This would fall in the category, and it truly isn't backwards. But by rule, it falls under the category of backwards. So I don't want to give anybody a hard time here, but if you raised your hand on that forward, make sure you go to page 34 of the rule book and study that. Okay? That's important. The purpose, honest, I'm not kidding around here, the purpose of classes like this are so that you can take home knowledge. We're not trying to embarrass anybody. We're not trying to show you up. But don't you feel better when you go on the field and something happens and you say, I know that rule. Okay, we went over that in class and it was discussed and I'm confident I know the rule. Okay, I never saw Bryce waver, but he's been in this class a long, long time. Okay, so he's heard this speech before. He had an advantage on us. Okay, he also has read the rule book many times. So we're deciding that if a ball is parallel, A pass is parallel. It is considered not a forward pass, but yes, a backward pass. That's important. In the back.
When in doubt, is it forward?
Yes. When in doubt. If you look up and it's coming your way and you're the wing over here, you look up and it's coming and the wing on the other side got nothing and the referee got nothing. And it's you and God. Okay? God doesn't wear a whistle. Okay? You need to make a determination. And we want something definitive. I was having a discussion earlier today with an official who said he was at a scrimmage last night. And he said there was a pass that went toward a wing and there was no whistle and there was no backward fist. Okay? You got to have one or the other. Got to have one or the other. If you're ruling it forward, be wrong, and that's okay. You may be wrong. But if you make a ruling, incomplete, if it's on the ground, okay, and you ruled it forward, it's incomplete. It's over. Now somebody can later argue that, hey, that one was backwards. He threw it from the 30 and it ended up on the 29 going backwards. Okay? That's okay. At least you ruled. If instead you're going to rule it to be a backward pass, you're punching it back. If the offense is going this way, I'm standing on the 30 and we're going towards the 40, and you rule that the pass was backwards, get your arm out there. Okay? That's a signal to a lot of people. First and foremost, your crewmates, so they know to echo the whistle and shut it down or to continue play. Second, you're letting all of the players and the fans and the television camera, if it's present, know the same thing. You're making an affirmative ruling. Okay? No pussyfooting here. You're making a ruling. Got it? So if a pass is coming, now if it's caught, we don't care. We don't need a ruling. Because the only time we care whether a pass is forward or backwards and we need to make that ruling is when it goes on the ground. Because you either got to kill it and say it's incomplete, next play, or you got to say the ball's alive. Somebody go cover it. Or yes, he may throw another pass. That part is true. So if you're ruling it backwards, thank you very much. I appreciate that help. If you're ruling it backwards, you can go here, and then you're saying, I've determined this to be a backward pass, and then it gives them the privilege, legally, of throwing a forward pass. Thank you for the help.
Should both wings punch it off, or should it be the person that the ball's coming to or away from?
John, can I have you answer this question for us? The question is, and I'm asking him to answer for a reason. The question is, who is responsible and has primary responsibility for determining forward and backward, and who should be initiating that signal? John?
Well, you'll never guess who had the scrimmage last night and ask Bob about that, but the situation I had was yes, a quick one step and then the slot back, move back, and the ball was thrown. So I didn't have a good angle on it, and it went toward my line judge, who was obviously covering the play. But I told him I either want, I either like to have a whistle and incomplete, or for you to let everybody know that it's backwards. Now, in the discussion, we talked about that that usually that call would come from the other side of the field, because a lot of times that guy has a lot of stuff happening in front of him, if the pass is coming to him. But nonetheless, the other wing didn't have a ruling, and even if he did, I wouldn't be looking that way if the ball was going here. So I didn't want him to have, either a backwards pass or an incomplete, because for just a split second in time there, we weren't sure exactly how he was going to rule.
Here's what I want you to think about. Use the same mentality you use for man in motion. Who has responsibility for the man in motion going forward? It's motion away. It's motion away. So the primary responsibility for pass forward, pass backwards is away. But what I want you to think about also is, if it's clearly backwards, okay, if it's clearly backwards, there is no restriction that says, oh, it's his call. And even if it is not clearly backwards and you're unsure, when you're looking across and you see this, remember cross-field mechanics, they can help you with spots. They can also help you with forward, backwards. Get your hand out. If you see the other guy's hand out, get your hand out. Okay? There's nothing wrong with having two hands out, one on either side. DJ?
I had a scrimmage last night, and I was the ball was away from me, and I signaled it backwards. And when the ball landed, we had an incomplete pass. So should I stop the play and say it's an inadvertent whistle, and we replay the down? What do you do when that's
Okay. His question is, if there is some confusion and one official rules in one manner and another official rules in the opposite manner, okay, now you have a ball loose on the ground and you have a whistle sounding, and one official has determined it to be incomplete and the other has determined that it is a backward pass. Should you blow the whistle and call it inadvertent? Okay? My answer is going to be, how certain are you? If you think you're absolutely 100%, and I don't like any number higher than 100 here, because it doesn't exist. If you're absolutely 100% certain, okay, I'm going to come in, calling timeout, and I'm going to report to my referee. Now, I think it's fair to have discussion then, okay, and not necessarily take one person's word and call the other person clearly wrong. He can come in and say, hey, the quarterback got hit at the time he was about to throw, and that caused the ball to look this way, but I'm going to rule it incomplete because he got hit as he was throwing. So even though it looked a little backwards, I'm calling it a forward pass. We know that you can change a ruling that way. Okay? But once someone has done this and blown the whistle, there's nothing wrong with you calling timeout and coming in and saying, this is what I saw, and having an appropriate discussion about it. We make mistakes. And if you have a mistake that is correctable, then you should go in and make the attempt to correct it. You can have the discussion, and maybe you get another opinion, and the referee might say, and I'm not trying to pick sides here at all and say that you were right or wrong, the referee might say, I had a pretty clear look at that, and he threw it from the 30 and it went to the 32, I had it forward. And if he had it forward and I had it forward, we're staying with forward. He might say, I wasn't sure and I have no look. Let's get together. And what yard line was he on when he threw it? And what yard line? And was there any action on the quarterback? And then you can sort it out. So the answer to the question is yes, come in and share your information.
I am curious on the play last night. Did you have a chance to eyeball your other wing before you stuck your arm out?
Well, whether he eyeballed it or not, he's saying the guy blew it dead. The other wing blew it dead. So he...
About it, across the field, see if he's already got his arm out. If not, go ahead and kill it.
Right, but what he's saying is he put his arm out and the other wing killed it incomplete. And so you've got conflicting signals and one guy killing the play.
Now, another class, Bob, it's been suggested that when you do that, you yell out backwards.
And I don't have a problem and would never tell you that you can't enunciate or verbalize what you're calling. But at different levels of football, okay, not everybody is as loud as I might be. And at different levels of football, you have different audience sizes, different crowds, and you may not be able to hear. So yes, it's helpful. In some cases, you can't hear that well, and it's not going to be significant. If it's a freshman game or a youth football game, and you say, I got backwards, everybody knows you got backwards. And that's okay. That's a wonderful addition. It's a supplement, but not a requirement. Okay? Oh, how many backward passes can we have? As many as they can throw. Another question, I'm sorry.
So you want the opposite wing, you think it's better for the opposite wing to make it?
Yes. That's the primary. I'm not saying it's better for him to make it. The other guy might have a real clear look and go backwards. Okay? When in doubt, the primary responsibility is away. All right, how many backward passes? The answer is unlimited, infinity. What do we do when it hits the ground? That's what we just finished talking about, fist back. What can't Team A do on a backward pass? And the answer is bat it forward. Okay? What should an official do when they see a backward pass? And the answer to number 2 right here and right here are the same. You're punching it off, pointing back to the offensive backfield. Okay, a pass is legal and forward when it has these elements. During a scrimmage down, meaning you cannot throw a pass on a free kick down, forward pass. Okay, forward pass. We all remember the Tennessee play, right? Okay, before a change of team possession, and this is really important right here. Throws the ball with both feet of the passer in or behind the neutral zone when the ball is released. It is not like basketball where you can jump, be in the air, float several yards in the air, and then throw the pass if you cross the line of scrimmage. Okay, in basketball, you'd say, well, he last touched the ground over here, so he can make a jump shot from over there, or he can pass the ball to a teammate or save the ball back in bounds. Basketball, different shape ball. Here, at the time the ball is thrown, when it leaves the passer's hand, that's what we're determining. When it leaves the passer's hand, where are both feet? And both feet need to be in or behind the neutral zone. Not the neutral zone expanded, but the neutral zone, which could also be described as the forward point of the ball at the time it was snapped. Okay? The forward point of the ball at the time it was snapped, that's the neutral zone. In or behind his neutral zone. Okay? So if the neutral zone is here, I can't have 1 foot behind and take a stride and then throw it and then have this foot touch the ground shortly after the ball is thrown. It's the position of the feet, whether they're on the ground or airborne. The position of the feet at the time the ball leaves the hand. Okay? Only one forward pass during the down, okay? And grounding. Grounding is defined as you believe that you're about to lose yardage on the play. The defense may make a play on you. There's no receivers open. I'm back here. I've faded back. I'm in the pocket. I've scrambled out of the pocket. The defense has an opportunity to tackle me, and I'm just trying to get rid of it. To save loss of yardage. That's a key phrase there. Save loss of yardage. So I'm throwing it away. Okay? In our league, it doesn't have to cross the line. Okay? It has to be where an eligible receiver is in the area. That's our definition of it was thrown to an area where there was an eligible receiver.
Well, what if he's outside the tackles?
Yeah, we don't have the concept of outside the tackles in our book. You can look through any page and that does not exist. Okay? Also, we do not have the concept of uncatchable pass. And so if you have a PI and the ball was clearly overthrown, that is still a flag in our league. Okay? It's not this. Okay? And you will have coaches say, way over his head, it's uncatchable. In our league, foul. Okay? All right, one other kind of pass I want to talk about as forward pass that I want everyone to be very comfortable with that is different than the standard classic, this kind of a shot right here, is the pitch on a sweep. Okay? The tailback is usually faster than the quarterback, and he's coming around the corner, okay? And this quarterback oftentimes is not even running at full speed. He's trying to shake and bake a little bit to make to this guy or that guy, okay? And if he runs beyond the line of scrimmage, the tailback may be equal to him or beyond him. And knowing that you need to lead a guy with a pitch, you don't throw it to where he is when the ball is released, you throw it to where he's going to be when the ball arrives. So you're going to throw it a little bit in advance of where he is. So if you get near the line of scrimmage and you still have a tailback out here coming around on the sweep, you must be conscious that the quarterback can pitch the ball to him and that ball may be forward. If it is forward, then it's no different than going back in the pocket and throwing a spiral in this manner. A pass is a pass is a pass. We don't care how the quarterback or the player releases the ball. It's whether it went forward or it didn't go forward. Okay? So if he's running around and he pitches the ball and it goes forward and it's beyond the line, that's a flag for illegal forward pass. Likewise, if they run that play that's very popular these days, shovel pass, it's where the quarterback drops back and he doesn't do this to throw his pass. He goes two-hand chest pass and just shovels it to the back. If that ball goes down, okay, even though I threw it this way, that's an incomplete pass. and you wave it off, and it's important that you wave it off because it's in the middle of several players now, and if you don't, you're going to have them there trying to hurt themselves. Okay, pass eligibility. Who is legally eligible to catch a forward pass? The requirements on offense are position and number. You must be on the end of the line or in the backfield, and you must have a number in one of two series, either 1 through 49 or 80 through 99. And you must meet both requirements. And remember that you cannot gain eligibility on a scrimmage kick formation through a shift. In a standard non-scrimmage kick formation, you can gain eligibility through a shift. And I'll give you this example. A team lines up in a shotgun formation, not scrimmage kick, but shotgun formation, and they've got number 88 as the tight end on the left. And they've got a wide receiver on the line on that same side of the field, and he's number 89. Okay? And they're set. Now, if they snap the ball in that formation, 88, the tight end, is ineligible because he's not on the end of the line. And they can say all they want. He's a tight end. He's a tight end. Well, they can call him any name he wants, but his position was not an end. He was not on the end of the line. So even though they can call him a tight end, that doesn't make him eligible. Okay? And even though he had the number, he didn't meet all of the requirements. But the quarterback can say, blue 47, and this guy takes a step back, and this guy takes a step up. Or maybe you only had 8 on the line and 3 in the backfield initially, doesn't matter. But if this guy takes a step back and sets, then this tight end becomes on the end of the line, and he then becomes eligible. Make sense? If you're scrimmage kick formation, you are restricted from gaining eligibility through a shift. So if they run swinging gate, and we talked about this in one of our early meetings, and a guy is on the inside, he's on the end over here in this group, but the snapper is on the end of the line, and then they say shift, and number 88 started as a split guard, so to speak, and he comes over here and becomes an end, he is not eligible. He is not eligible. You cannot gain eligibility through shift if you started in a scrimmage kick formation. That's very important. Okay? Okay, on the defensive side, everybody. And then once a forward pass is touched by B, everybody's eligible. Everybody's eligible. So let's look now on who becomes eligible. Here's our offense, okay? And so anybody who's in the backfield, we know we got 4 guys in the backfield. All these guys, 84, 24, 89, 7, they're eligible, aren't they? How about 93? Yep. How about 48? What? Yes. Even though he's not really up on the line, we're saying that he broke the plane of the snapper's waist. So technically he's on the line. You can see a little gap here where he's not tight to the line, but he's considered a lineman. And so you have a total of 6. That's the maximum number you can have. It's possible through formation that you could have less than 6. Okay? But 6 is the maximum number that are eligible. Now, if they run the Chicago Bear things, and this is Refrigerator Perry, and he's got a number in the 70s, or whatever his number was, okay, I don't remember what his number was, but if he has a non-eligible number, he cannot be an eligible receiver. Okay, can he catch a backward pass? Yes, because anybody can. The restrictions are only on legal forward passes. Legal forward passes. Okay, so here's our guys, the same 6 we identified earlier, so we get 100% on this one. Okay, new formation. Who's eligible? 84, he's backfield, he's good. 7's good. 24 is good. How about 93? Nothing changed there, that's good. How about 89? How about him? No way, Jose, because he's what we call covered up. Even though he has a proper number, he is not a back, and he's not on the end of the line. Now, if the quarterback calls signals, okay, and this guy has not gone down in a 3-point stance, then he could have a shift and set as a wingback here, or he could go in motion, okay? But if he goes in a 3-point stance and this guy's on the end of the line, an interior lineman who goes in a 3-point stance cannot come up, right? Umpires, you with me? Anybody who goes in a three-point stance as an interior lineman, not an end, but an interior lineman, is restricted from lifting that hand. Now, when you're talking freshman, JV, youth football, if he is down here and he switches hands and nobody gained an advantage, go talk to him. If it's varsity football, as soon as he does this, you're blowing your whistle and throwing your flag. Okay? Same thing with a snapper who is taking one hand, both hands off the ball, or lifting the ball up a little bit and put it down. Youth football, freshman and JV, if they're not gaining an advantage, talk to them after the play. Can't take your hands off the ball, can't lift the ball, you got to snap it from off the ground. Tell them. We're helping them become better football players. If it's varsity football, bang. Okay, we got 100% on this one. 48 is not eligible because he is covered up. Okay, look at this formation. Who do we got? 7, he's good, he's a back. 24 is a back, he's okay. He's okay, he's okay. So now I got 4 in the backfield, right? 93? How about him? Why? Number. He's in a proper position, but that's only half the battle. It's only half the battle. You have to have position and number. Okay? We're 3 for 3, folks. All right, let's look at this one. We're trying to make it a little more tricky. 7's good. 48, 24, both good. Right? 93, good. We're up to 4. That's our 4 guys in the backfield. 84? How about him? No, he's covered up. This guy, same deal, covered up. Pardon me, not covered up, bad number, my mistake. Okay? I'll blame that one on me. Okay, when is an ineligible illegally downfield? We should have an L and a Y there. Okay? Okay, we have the line of scrimmage, and we have something called the expanded neutral zone, where if I'm engaged, not just walking down here on my own, sightseeing, but if I'm engaged with an opponent, I can drive that opponent back up to 2 yards beyond the original line of scrimmage. But I must be engaged. I cannot block him, step back, and then go out here and get him. I must be engaged. Okay? So it allows me to be stronger than my opponent, okay, and push him back. And if I push him far enough, now I have to stop. And I can let him go, I can hold on to him right here, okay? But I can't go any further than that. Okay? Oh, what causes a ball to be a touchdown? The first thing we want to talk about is any part of the ball, not the whole ball, any part of the ball touches any part of the line. This line is completely in the end zone. This pylon should be at the intersection of the sideline, inside edge, and the goal line on the line portion closest to the 1 yard line. The entire line is in the end zone. So this is the simple way. Any part of the ball touches any part of the line, 6 points. Okay? Any part of the ball touches any part of the line, 6 points. Okay? Now in this case, his feet are fine. You can always have the feet down. This is not touched, so that's good. And we talked in one of the earlier lessons about the hand is legal to touch the ground and keep the ball alive. Hand or foot can touch the ground. You can actually even put the ball down and pick it up and go again. Putting hand, foot, or ball on the ground does not kill the play. Any other body part, your booty, your helmet, your face mask, your elbow, your hand, foot, ball, maintains the ball as alive. So this, hand's okay, and we have any part of the ball touching any part of the line, 6 points. Touchdown by catch. In this case, this is the end line. This is the back of the end zone right here. This is the end line. And we're ruling that he had possession on his fingertips, and he had 1 foot down. Now, how many feet do you have to make a catch? 0. The first body part that touches the ground is all we care about. Most commonly, it is a foot. Most commonly, it is a foot. But if you think back to the guy that played for the Chargers and for ASU, he was a wizard at catching a ball while airborne and flying through the air. Okay? And if you had a guy like that, he could catch the ball while airborne, put one hand down in bounds or in the end zone, keep flying through and land out of bounds. And that's a catch. It does not have to be a foot. A guy could catch a ball while airborne, land on the top of his head in bounds, and then do a flip and land out of bounds, and that's a catch. In the NFL, it's 2 feet. Okay, 2 feet. In college, it's 1 foot. In high school, which is the league we talk about, it's the first body part that touches the ground. Most commonly, it is a foot. So if he gets 1 foot in bounds, then yeah, that's good. But it is not an absolute requirement that it has to be a foot. The first body part that touches the ground when you come from airborne. Everybody okay with that? Good. So here, what we have is a guy getting possession, 1 foot in, and you ruled that he had possession, not just bobbling on the fingertips, and then he comes down with his 2nd foot out of bounds, and 50's going out of bounds, out of bounds. Okay? That's a catch. That's a catch. Wow. Now, okay, let's see how observant you are. What month is this?
October.
Very good. Okay, and how do we know? Right there. Okay, we have 1 arm straight and 1 arm crooked. Okay, but I'm sorry, that's the way my arms work. Okay, no, it's this birthmark here. I can't make that elbow go straight. Okay, the foul during a touchdown. What do we do here? Fouls on scoring plays. If it's during a touchdown, what are the options? By the defense now, by the defense. Okay, what are the options? Foul during a touchdown, what are we doing? We can take it on the try, or we can carry it over to the kickoff. When is the dividing line when we say it's after the touchdown? We're talking about immediately after a touchdown, okay? When is the dividing line? We say we can no longer carry it over and it has to go on the try. The ready for play. So from the time the ball becomes dead because a touchdown was scored, all the way up through the huddle, through the discussion, through setting the ball in the 3, until you go ready for play. Any foul that occurs in that time zone, you have options. And you can take it on the try, or you can take it on the kickoff. Thank you very much, Gary. If it occurs after the try, then there is no option. You're taking it on the try. Once you go ready, then the period of the try, not the live ball, but the period of the try is considered to have started. And any foul that occurs after the try will be part of that. Okay? It'll be part of the try. Okay? Did I say that right? Okay, I think so.
In theory, you could have both situations.
Oh, absolutely.
You could have
Absolutely.
succeeding kick.
You could have a foul by the defense. Let's say you have a pass interference, but he catches the ball anyway and he goes in to score. So you got a touchdown, both arms straight. Close enough. And then you're going to say, okay, coach, you want it on the try or you want it on the kick, right? And he's going to say, we're going to go ahead and take it on the kickoff. Okay? Now he can't change it once he says take it on the kickoff. Later on he can't come back and says we changed our mind. He's taking it on the kickoff once he gives you that answer. Okay? And then you come over here and as they're lining up, okay, you haven't gone ready for play yet, and you have a substitute on the defense. They see they have 12, and you have a substitute go out the back of the end zone. You got a dead ball foul, and you haven't had the ready yet. Are any of you guys throwing that, or are you going to tell them? Are you going to let him go? Ran out the back. So even though you haven't had the ready, you're going to call that illegal substitution, and you're going to have options on that one. You're going to say, okay, we got a 5-yard substitution penalty because he went out the back of the end zone. We can put that also on the kickoff, or we can do it on the try. And he goes, 5 more on the try. Pardon me, 5 more on the kickoff. 5 more on the kickoff. Right? And now he goes, okay, are we finally ready to play football again? Enough of this penalty stuff, I'm getting tired. Okay? Ready for play. Okay? And now you've got something simple, like encroachment. Okay? The defense misses a snap count and he's trying to rush that kicker and he steps in the neutral zone. Well, once it's after the ready for play, it is considered to be part of that play. And you're going to go half the distance on that one. Now remember always on tries to ask, because the kicker may not want to take that half the distance. He may want to stay right there because I get a better angle to kick it up and get it over. I don't have to go up so quickly because I'm closer. Okay? Now also in penalty enforcement, let's keep you on your toes. If you go half the distance and they say we want to bring the offense out, that's okay, right? We're going to go half the distance, so now the 1.5 offense out. And then he says, oh, and by the way, I want it on the left hash. Absolutely. When can you not come back and change? The ready for play. Okay, the ready for play. So if you go to the 1.5 yard line and they bring the offense out and we say, okay, everybody ready to go here, defense is in, offense is in, here we go, boom. And then the coach goes, oh, wait a minute, left hash. Too late.
You would not be able to move it after a delay a game on the offense, though.
Right, the offense.
No. Wait a minute. Yes, you can change it because you have a new ready for play. The answer is yes, you can change it. Fouled by the offense, you're going to reset, and they may say, hey, wait a minute, our kicker can't kick that far. Okay? Maybe it's a 15-yard penalty instead of a 5, but, give him benefit of the doubt. He can't kick that far, we're going to go offense.
Doesn't sportsmanlike fouls have any different ramifications there?
No different in terms of when they're going on, in terms of can they carry to the try or carry over to the kickoff. Unsportsmanlike don't matter. Yeah, it's going on the succeeding spot, and in this point you have 2 succeedings, and the ready for play is still your dividing line. Okay? Now,
What about a timeout?
if he calls a timeout, then you're going to have a new ready for play, and then you can change the position of the ball. Okay? So your ready for play is your magic thing. Once you go ready, and so referees, now think of this. Okay? Here's my personal mechanic. We score a touchdown. Okay? Dana's got the ball. He's going to stand there and not place the ball down yet. He's going to hold the ball in his hand. And I'm going to find the kicker and the holder if I see them coming out. Okay? And I'm going, look at him. Tell him where you want the ball. And he may want it one step this way or one step that way. Most of the time they want it right in the middle. And he's going right there. And Dana puts the ball down, and now he's told me what he wants. Boom. If I see the offense come out, I'm generally going to be either looking to the bench or looking in the huddle and say, you want it in the middle or you want it on the hash? And I'm going to find out before I go ready, because I know that ready is the lock and they can't move it after that. So why do I want to force the lock prematurely? See that? Give them the opportunity and ask the question before you lock. Steve.
Always ask the guys coming from the sideline. Don't ask the guys that are already out there.
Yeah. Don't ask a lineman. Okay? You want to ask the kicker, the holder, or the quarterback. Those are the guys you typically are looking for. Okay? And sometimes you can look over to the bench, and if you see him sending the offense on, that's the most likely occurrence. If the kicker's on, pretty much center is what you're going to be doing. Okay? Pretty much center. But if you see the offense coming on, I may look over to the bench and say, Coach, you want in the middle or you want the hash?
I think I know the answer to this, but on the same scenario, so we've got 20 yards now going the other way. They kick it, it's good. They rough the snapper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to take it there, but we have to penalize. So that one, even though it's happened ready for play on, we're going to take that on the kickoff because we got it good.
Well, just like you can have a foul during a touchdown play, if you have a foul during a successful try, options,
right.
And they can go penalty and replay the down, make sure they go for 2 if they kicked 1. You don't want to line up and go half the distance and go for 1 again. It doesn't make any sense at all. Okay? And so I even say this if I'm looking over the coach. You want to go half the distance and go for 2, or do you want it on the kickoff? And they would have options. And so you could add that one. You can add any number of penalties to that kickoff based on when they occurred. Mm-hmm. Okay. If we have a change of possession, we can carry that over. What about before and overtime? Let's say you have a penalty. Okay, let's say you have a penalty on the last play.
Just like you had, on the extra point, they roughed the snapper that tied the game.
Okay, you have a game that's a 1-point game and they're lining up for the extra point. They kick the extra point and it's good. Okay, and so now momentarily you have a tie pending the outcome of the penalty decision. And you go to the coach and you say, you want to take that point off the board and go for 2 and want to win it right now? Okay, or can we carry that to overtime? I hear a lot of quiet in here. I only hear one guy talking back here in the back. Gary seems to be in charge of it. Okay, and Ray Burt's lucky to have him. Okay? What's this? Steve, in your game, what are you going to do? Okay, and so the succeeding spot is the overtime 10-yard line.
But it gets more complicated than that. You have to explain the options of what to do.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, the succeeding spot is the 10-yard line in overtime. Hang on just a second. And so if they accept the penalty, now you're at that point, and I'm going to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, we're going to have a penalty on the defense when we start overtime. Now when you go do the toss, before they select options, you got to make sure you explain this. Okay, that you're going to have a foul on the defense. And if the defense wins the toss and they go defense first, okay, it's going to be half the distance. Okay, if they say offense first, you're going to go 15 yards out and they're going to start on the 25.
First and goal. So
First and goal always.
you need the color. You need to remember that color. You said defense, I'm just curious. Color is
Yeah.
a key there.
Absolutely.
Penalties do carry into the,
They go to the succeeding spot, and the succeeding spot is the 10-yard line for overtime. Stephen?
Okay, now, this is something we haven't had that yet, but starting overtime, I know it doesn't say to do it, but I've always called the coaches out to explain stuff. to start.
100%.
And if that, especially that's.
100%.
Better, don't have a kid come out.
Here's what I'm going to do. If I got overtime, I'm going to give him 3 minutes, and I'm going to bring the head coach and the captains out. Head coach and the captains. And I'm not going to let the captains talk a whole lot. Okay? I'm going to tell the head coaches, here's what we got. It's always goal to go. Okay? And we're going to do this. And I might even tell the visiting head coach to call it. All right. Now, here's something I want to point out, and this is television stuff. Okay? One of the things I'm doing incorrectly here is I'm looking over there. Okay? And at that point, I don't know what was going on in that game. I don't remember what game that is. That looks like Chandler and who knows who else it is. Okay? Because it says Wolves, so it's Chandler and somebody. Okay? But I'm looking over here. Once you get to the moment of television, one of the things that you will discover if you are the referee doing penalty signals is that your eyes move a lot more than you think. And so when you're doing penalty communication with a camera, okay, you want to lock your eyes on something, on the press box, on the top row of the stands, on something. Usually I try to pick something higher in the stands. You can do here, but higher in the stands because that's generally the camera angle. And even though you may not be looking right at the camera, you can be looking up here and lock your eyes. What you don't want to do is be doing this kind of thing because on camera, and probably right now, okay, that gives the impression of what we call shifty eyes and uncertainty, okay? And people are going to say, is he sure about that call? He didn't seem very confident. Now, you can be confident in here and confident in here, but the eyes moving, okay, tells everybody out there that's watching on camera that you're not really sure. So be conscious of that if you're doing refereeing. Camera. It's one of the things you learn. I didn't know, and trust me, I did it a few times. This is a still shot, but I did it a few times before I said, holy moly, and you learn. All right, field goal, good, no good. Okay, the rule says real simple. The entire ball must be on the inside edge of the pole. And so this is clearly out. This one is going right over it. That's no good because part of the ball is over the pole and not on the inside edge. The entire ball inside the inside edge of the pole. And it's not the whole pole, it's the inside edge. Okay? Whistle, who blows the whistle? Thank you. And a missed field goal, what are we doing? Who has the whistle? Who's signaling no good? Both. Both guys back there. Okay? And I'm not going to say by position because it could be the umpire these days. Okay? And if we have a penalty, then we can replay a field goal. And remember, they have options. Okay? If it's a field goal that's successful, they can take the points and tack on to the kickoff, or they can take the yardage against the defense, which may give them either a first down and continue the drive, or a fourth down and shorter where they want to go for it. So depending on the overall game situation, the score, the time of the game, you want to make sure on a successful field goal with the penalty against the defense that you consider all options and let them choose. You don't automatically tack it on. Okay, the try, kick that is blocked is dead. Kick that crosses the neutral zone, kicks, my mistake, this says try up here. It is a scrimmage kick. If the kick crosses the neutral zone in a try, it doesn't matter, but a kick that crosses the neutral zone in a punt or field goal scenario says that you're going to have a first down. You're going to have a first down here. Okay? Fake kicks, and B gets the ball. In the try scenario, if B gets the ball, it's dead. In a field goal, it's alive. So make sure on every place kick, field goal or try, that you're saying out loud. Okay? Ball's alive or ball's dead. Okay? It's a try, so if B gets it, it's dead. On field goals, I just remind myself, because the normal thing you think of on a try in there is that it's going to be dead and you're going to blow it dead. So on a try, I always say the ball's alive, it's field goal, ball's alive. If he gets it, still alive, still alive, still alive. Keep your people in the game. All right, on scrimmage plays, placement of the ball, they're talking about the lateral spot. B may get the ball in some cases, and then carryover fouls. Okay? When is safety, when's touchback, and momentum? Albert's not here tonight. Okay, there's some confusion about what momentum is. At what yard line does the momentum rule come into play? From the goal line to the 5. Thank you very much. It at one point originally was the 3 and in, but players got faster, so they had more momentum. So honestly, it changed from the 3 to the 5 at some point. It is currently the 5. Okay, so you can have momentum from the 5, not from the 6 to the 7, but from the 5. Okay, that's where momentum can occur. Okay, safety versus touchback. If this is the goal line, this is in the end zone, okay? If he has the ball, this is the quarterback here, and he's pitching it, okay? He tips it, and then it goes out of the back of the end zone. What do you got? What do you got? You got a safety. Because the ball is in the end zone as a result of action by Team A. Clearly they snapped it out here, but he's got it in the end zone, so it's Team A. And Team A is responsible for getting it out. If he tips it, I don't care. Okay? If it goes out of the back of the end zone and he put it in there, okay, that's where we started. He's got it in the end zone. He put it there. Okay? It's going to be a safety. Now in this case, okay, the ball's bouncing. Okay? I'm not sure. Yeah, it started here. Bounce, bounce. He tipped it in, and then it bounced out the back. You can call that a touchback. That's correct. Okay, this one, he's in shotgun position in the end zone. He takes a snap, and it hits his hands and goes over the back. Okay? It's a live ball, but he's got to get it and do something with it. They don't show what I'll call the end of the play here. Okay? This one, what they're trying to imply is that it was a passive act by him and the ball bounced and hit him. Okay? Bounced and hit him, I think. I'm not sure what this slide means. Next slide.
Possibly that the ball's dead. Maybe the ball's dead and no player possession at that time. Is what they could be looking at.
I'm not going to speculate. We're going to go to the next slide. Okay, this is a punt, and let's say they snapped it from about the 15-yard line. He's back here on the 2-yard line, and he punts the ball, and it's blocked. Now it's blocked, and it goes over near the pylon. Okay? If it goes out at the 1, what do you got? Assuming it was 4th down. Okay, assuming it was 4th down, okay, then it's going to be 1st down and goal for B. If it was 3rd down, because you can punt on 3rd down, then it would be 4th down and long for A, from the 1. If it goes out on the goal line side and out of the end zone, then what do you got? Safety. What put the ball in the end zone? This doesn't count. It's the kick. Blocking the kick and having it go back this way is always a safety. You don't consider the airborne kick when batted to have a new force added. Even though he can take a really good swing at it, considered the kick. Okay, the force is considered the kick. So he kicks it and it goes back this way across the end zone and out. It's a safety.
Hey Bob, let's go back to that one. I don't know if that's number 80 something blocking it. He blocks the kick, But let's say, and I'm just trying to.
You're talking about this guy?
Yes, he's blocking, that's great, he's blocking the ball.
Okay.
Let's say there's another guy off to his right.
Over here.
That runs right into the kicker, runs right through him.
Okay. The only person that has options to have contact with the kicker is the guy that gets a piece of the ball. And so if a teammate of a B player comes in and B1 gets a block and B2 hits the kicker, you could have running into or roughing.
Just want to make that clear.
Now, what if on that one, it's the kick, the ball's bouncing to the sideline, and the guy over there bats it into the end zone, it goes out? Is it still the emphasis?
Okay, first and foremost, we're going to consider that it has been on the ground.
Right.
And then you're going to consider the quality of the bat. I want it to be a bat. Okay? Then you could have a new force if you deemed that he batted it and added a new force to a grounded kick. I'm going to be leaning towards the original kick was not spent, and I'm going to make him really hit it. Okay? If it's fingertip kind of stuff, that's a muff, and a muff's not going to add a new force to it. He's got to really give it a wind up and a swing, in my opinion, for me to be certain that it is a bat. Any latitude, any when in doubt, is going to be it's still a kick.
Of course, because he wants to recover it for 6 points, not have 2 points.
Right on. Right on. Okay. Is this a... Oh, okay. This is a pass. This is a pass, and it's coming in. 81 is offense. This is the DB, and he catches the pass in the end zone. Okay? If he goes down here, what do you got? Touchback, because what put the ball in the end zone? It's the pass coming in, so the pass was the force that put the ball in the end zone, and he can run around in here all he wants. Run around, run around, run around. I think I'm going to go 115 yards. Oh, no, I'm going to go back this way. No, I'm going to go back this way. Never mind, there's a lot of guys. I'm putting my knee down. Still a touchback. Until he comes across this line, it's a touchback.
With the whole ball across the line.
With the entire ball. That's right. Okay, now let's talk a quick thing about penalties here because I don't want to get too far off. Let's assume he's running around back here and one of his teammates comes and blocks this guy below the waist. What's your enforcement? And then he's subsequently down in the end zone, okay? So he decides to down it, but you've got a flag in the end zone right here. The play ended in the end zone here. Referees, how many referees? Raise your hand if you're a referee. John, I know you are. Tom, okay. Steve, Rick, anybody over here? No, okay. Referees, come on, that happened in your game. What do we got? Oh, put your book away. You don't carry your book on the field. That's cheating. Okay, he's saying from the touchback spot. Correct, correct. Don't be saying anything different. We got 2 right answers over here.
I'm starting to think safety. You have a foul. The ball's already been intercepted. You have a foul.
The succeeding spot in this play is the 20. Right. Remember what put the ball in here? You're a touchback. You're a touchback. And so as long as something happens in the end zone, it's a foul behind the basic spot of the 20-yard line. That's what you need to think about. And this is important. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. This is education. Okay? 20 is your basic spot. Foul behind the 20, you're going half the distance.
Okay.
And first down.
I have no problem with that.
Okay? Yeah, and first down and 10. First down and 10.
You said it's a block by the interceptors, right? Yeah.
Blocked by the defense or team B.
So it's not going to be first and 10, it's going to be at the 30.
No, because he intercepted it. He's getting a touchback on the 20. And so it's his ball on the 20. We're going against him back to the 10. All right, so now we have this guy fumbling the ball. Okay? The guy in black is A in all these cases. So this guy fumbles the ball as a result of the tackle at the 2-yard line, and the ball goes in, and the defense recovers it in the end zone. Touchback, and it's a 20. Now let's say he's not here, and it bounces across the line. This is the one that when you think about it in a game, it seems really expensive and almost wrong. Okay? A team is down at the 2-yard line, and they're about to score. And yeah, they fumbled, we know that, but it only bounced 2 yards in the end zone, then went out of bounds. Okay? They lose the ball for that? The answer is yes. If you fumble the ball from the field of play forward into the end zone and it goes out the end line or either sideline across one of those end zone lines, okay, it's a touchback and the other team gets the ball on the 20. That's really expensive. And the first time that happens to you in a game when you're the referee, you're thinking, this almost doesn't seem right. This almost seems unfair, but it's the rule. That's what it is. Okay, safety versus touchback. Everybody got this one? Good. Okay, number one, you have an interception. And then number two, he fumbles, okay? First of all, the interception's in the field of play. He runs backwards, because see, here's our goal line. He runs backwards, trying to avoid somebody, okay? And he fumbles while he's in the end zone, and then it goes out. This is easy. How did the ball get in the end zone? Interception in the field of play. He voluntarily ran backwards and put it in the end zone himself. So B put the ball back there. It's not a pass anymore that took it back there, unless you ruled momentum, and I don't see a beanbag here. Okay? So you got an interception, but we didn't say original momentum. We're saying he turned and ran backwards. There's no beanbag there. When you get to be the instructor, you can make up your own rules. Tonight, he ran back in the end zone. He fumbled it, it went out. Now, let's assume for a moment that Mr. Whitney is correct and that he was running backwards. He intercepted the ball and his momentum took him in, then he fumbled and it went out the back. Now what do you got? Okay, you go back to your beanbag spot, which right here is the 2-yard line, okay? And that is your new spot. B gets the ball right there. Thank you, Mr. Binford. Okay, when does force get applied? And let's talk about new force versus not new force. One of the things I want you to generally have in your mind is try not to have a new force. If you're going to rule that something added a new force to the ball, make it be worthwhile. Like we talked about before, the ball bouncing around there and a guy got a fingertip on it, he touched it. We know he touched it and had contact with the ball. But in my mind, in my game, when I'm out there making the ruling, I'm going to make that new force be legitimate, okay, and obvious. Okay? If it's sneezing, if it bumped it a little bit, if it's a muff, if it's anywhere close, I'm ruling not a new force. Try not to have a new force. In some cases, you have no choice because the guy winds up and bam, he new forces it. Okay? It's obvious to everybody. In that case, okay, we got rules to cover that. When in doubt, it is not a new force. Help yourself.
Bob, I hate to do this, but can we go back to the guy that caught it,
No.
that intercepted in the end zone, and his teammate fouled in the end zone?
Yes? We're going back to this play right here. We have an interception in the end zone, so what put the play in the end zone, okay, is this guy.
No question.
The pass put the play in the end zone. He's running around. He downs it, but before he downs it, we have blocking below the waist.
The basic spot is the 20, that's correct. You have a foul behind the basic spot.
A foul by which team, sir? B.
Right.
Fouls by B are never considered. Remember our 3 and 1?
Hey, they're on offense. You can see the ball.
Once they start on B, they remain B. Okay? And so you're not going to go back to that spot. It's tempting.
Well, then I'm confused on a case book one. It's not exactly the same.
Okay?
A1 throws a pass from the 22, B intercepts in the end zone, tackled prior to leaving the end zone. During the run, B2 holds at the 10.
Okay?
How would you enforce that?
Now, that one, okay, you're going to enforce from the 10.
No, what's the difference?
Okay? The difference is you have a special enforcement because normally a foul by the team here in the end zone results in a safety. Because he didn't put himself in the end zone, you have this new basic spot where you enforce called the touchback or 20-yard line. So it's a special enforcement.
One, you'd enforce it from the one bit because it's in the end zone, you don't have a safety?
Yes. If it happened in the field of play, then you're going back. Okay? But if it happened in the end zone, it's special enforcement. You're not going to give them a safety because he didn't put the ball in the end zone. That's what you got to think. Okay, mechanics, pass plays, goal line. Okay? If we're outside the 15-yard line, what we're talking about is this guy has responsibility for the goal line. Once in a while, you're going to have a scenario where your crew may make minor adjustments. This is the basic one. But let's assume that you're on the 14, or let's go to the next slide. Okay? Now we're inside. Okay? We're on the 14-yard line, and this is a good one. Normally, He's going to go here, and this guy has goal line, and this guy has goal line, right? But what if you got 4th and 1, right here, 4th and 1? Okay, 4th and 1. Do you have to use this mechanic? In 4th and 1, you can say, I'm moving up and I got the goal line, because you want these guys to be very focused and stay right here. Because the odds are, I mean, they could throw for touchdown. We understand that, okay? But the odds are they're going to try to get the first down versus get the touchdown. So you may, as the referee, allow a mechanic for a special one-time thing here because of down and distance. This is the standard mechanic, and we're assuming that it is not 4th and 1 here. Okay? I am not proposing that we just start changing mechanics on the fly. And I'm going to suggest that you have senior people if you're adjusting any mechanics at all. I would not put 2s and 3s and other kind of people like that, okay, 4s, into adjusted mechanics. If you got those guys with you, if you've got brand new ones, I'm going to try to stay with the standard mechanics. Okay? Big boys can handle a little bit of magic stuff. Okay? If you're not so experienced, you stay with the book mechanics. And I'm not proposing that we just arbitrarily change mechanics. That's not the point. Okay, inside the 15-yard line, we've snapped the ball. What's going on here? He's running it. Okay, so they got the goal line. Okay, and here's what I want to point out. Watch L. He'll go all the way to the goal line and then work back. That's the point of this movement. All the way and then come back when he gets tackled on the 3. See that? So you try to get there. Beat him to the goal line. Okay, inside the 5, now what we're going to do is both these guys are going to go immediately to the goal line and work back. This is our most important line. Matt, I lied to you. Okay, so we snap the ball and they go immediately to the goal line. And then if the play doesn't make it there, they work back. Now, reverse goal line. If we are 5-yard line or closer, then these guys have goal line responsibility. The referee's got the end line, and they're going to start backward to the goal line and work out. They go back to the goal line and work out. 5 to 10-yard line, assuming we have a right-hander here, the referee would be over here with the right-hander, and it's going to be here, these two guys. Okay, have goal line. This guy doesn't. Okay? Every time, every play that I'm down here, okay, I am going to say, me and you, we got goal line. Me and you, we got goal line. Okay? Matt, it's all you. Matt, it's all you. What's wrong with that? Okay, what's wrong with that? Same thing if your other end back judge and wings point at each other. My goal line, your goal line. My goal line, your goal line. Okay, so here's our play here. They come back to the goal line, only one. He stays. Okay, dead ball officiate after the score. Okay, he's there. He's at the goal line. He's continuing to watch this. Okay, and if he turns around and pivots, he can see that stuff. If he turns in and gets camera happy and I got to do a big signal and run all the way in here and leaves these players over here, who knows what you got? You could have a punch, you could have a spike, you could have a victory dance. You got to watch that. Passing mechanics. Okay, you got receivers going all over the place, but notice that when the receivers run the route, the wings stay home. One of the added benefits of doing this is if the guy does scramble or if he throws short and underneath, you now have more than one person, a total of 3, who can help you on whether or not the ball crossed the line. Okay, again, receivers all over. And forward progress if you get a sack. Okay, oh, this is our crossfield spot. Boom, he throws it over there. He gets driven back. Now this guy's going to be watching this action. This guy has a pretty good look at the line. And if you're over here and you see this pass, be thinking, what's my line? Watch what happens. He comes up and squares off. He can watch all of the action here. And then when it's all over, he can look across, find this guy, and say, I got your spot. And I looked like I had it all the time. But really, you got help. End the video, and we're going to switch to our video. Okay? I lied.
Oh, wait, was it